Hello dear readers and subscribers. The art industry often seems to favor youth, with open calls for artists under 35 or galleries looking for the new, next exciting young artist. So, is it still possible as an artist of a later age to become successful, or is it too late? In this video we're going to answer this question thoroughly, explaining also with some data and empirical evidence whether or not that is the case, and some of the most important pitfalls for artists who start their career or to start to take it a bit more seriously later in life, what to be aware of and how to make the most of it. Let's get started. Before diving in, I want to thank everybody for the numerous comments on my video of 2 weeks ago during my holiday when I was in the south of France, where I asked which topics you want me to address in our future videos. I'm overwhelmed by both the sheer amount of comments and topic suggestions, but also the quality of it. There are a lot of topic suggestions that were both on my list, but also some of them that I wasn't completely aware of their relevance, or that question is so pertinent among artists these days. So thank you, and I will go through the comments in the coming days. Today's video is also one of the main topic suggestions, and it's actually a question that I have received over and over again of artists who, for instance, first had to support their family, worked a regular job, always been interested in art, or perhaps found a new avocation in art now that they have retired and are ready to take it a bit more seriously. They really want to go for it. Many older artists feel like it's very difficult for them to break into the art world at a later age. Yet age itself is not necessarily a problem for the art world. If we have a look at the top 100 globally highest ranked artists, living artists today via the data of Artifacts, we'll see that just 5% of the top 100 is younger than 50 years old. And half of the top 100, almost half, 49 actually at this very moment, are older than 70 years old. And yes, you might think, okay, these are the top artists who had career longevity from when they graduated and remained relevant throughout their entire life, hence their very high ranking. And that's only partly true, because there are also numerous examples of artists who rose to prominence later in life. Think of Carmen Herrera, who worked since the 1940s, but especially since the early 2000s, that really rose to prominence and was one of the best kept secrets of the art world, which was actually an anecdote itself, which really boosted her career, that she had this rose to prominence so late in life. But also artists such as Zilia Sanchez or Etel Adnan. So there is both empirical evidence that it is possible to succeed later in life, as well as the data that it does not necessarily favor youth. The most important thing to understand is that as an older artist, you have a different profile than the young artists. So accepting that it might be a bit more difficult and that you have a different profile than those younger artists is the first step. But the second step is embracing, of course, the opportunity that it is still possible. And actually, as an older artist, you have other things to offer that young artists do not have. You have more life experience, you're more mature. For instance, young artists are told all the time that they are still too young, that they are not ready yet, which is something that you won't hear as much when you're a bit older and have a more respected age. However, you can only leverage this experience and maturity if also your work and your profile as an artist looks mature and experienced. So here are the key things that you need to be aware of and take care of when you are trying to enter the art world as an older artist. First and foremost, do not feel like you have to justify your age. This is something I have seen on numerous occasions, also with the advisory report sessions that I have done, is that artists who started later in life, instead of discussing their art in their biography and in their statement, they explain why they are only focusing on their art now, that they had a job, that they had this background or these responsibilities, and all of that may be true. But instead of letting the art world read about why your art is interesting, you're actually giving them an apology for not having succeeded yet, which inadvertently positions you as an artist who already lost. And of course, that's something we want to avoid at all costs. So instead of trying to justify this, why there is such a gap on your resume, or why you haven't had a breakthrough moment yet. Simply write about your art, what discipline you practice, how you practice it, in what way it stands out, what topics you explore, etc. Simply write about your art, or create a biography or a statement in the same way that a successful older artist would have a biography or a statement, which is about the art itself. Do not apologize or feel the need to justify your age. If you're struggling to do this, please note that we have free articles and videos that explain you how to do this effectively, and also some very affordable tools, the artist biography generation tool and the artist statement generation tool, that can help you in this process. So perhaps the most important consideration for older artists is it's not because you started later in life that you should present yourself as a beginner. On the contrary, whereas young artists might have the time to make up for any inconsistencies or mistakes, or when there are certain inconsistencies in their work that people will describe it as the talent is there yet, but they're still looking for their mature body of work. As an older artist, you are not in that position. So you really need to present yourself as an artist who is completely ready, who is not a beginner. And this is of course easier said than done, but we need to achieve that level before we start to interact with the art world. As an older artist, the key to success is presenting yourself as someone fully ready for professional opportunities who simply hasn't been discovered yet by the right gallery. Think of it as positioning yourself as one of the art world's best kept secrets, like the lines of Carmen Herrera, Ethel Adnan, or Celia Sanchez. But achieving this level of readiness is of course not easy, so we'll walk you through it. As always, we need to start with the work itself. The art must be mature, gallery ready, and be able to really stand its ground in a high-end environment. This starts by aligning the nature of your art with your ambitions as an artist. This is something I explain very thoroughly in How to Find Your Place in the Art World, which is an article and video explaining how some artists who are pursuing a career in the contemporary art world without creating art that can be seen as contemporary art, that is more fine art or decorative art or applied art or illustration art. So make sure to identify where your art fits best so you can be completely ready for that realm of the art world. Your art should also have a certain amount of recognizability, whether it's based on your style, the visual language of your art, or on a very specific vision you hold. You need to achieve the right balance between consistency and versatility. Another topic that I discuss extensively in another video, but that is so essential, especially for artists who are more mature. So remove all the works that are irrelevant inconsistencies in your work. But there always needs to be one element that allows you to connect the dots from series to series. Especially at an older age, you do not want to come across as unsure, capricious. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, well, then it might seem like you'll never figure it out. If you're unsure about the strength of your portfolio or whether it is ready or not, our platform offers a lot of free resources to improve or further develop your work, but also consultations for feedback. And in all honesty, the very best strategy or the most important skill to be able to make that assessment yourself is developing a good frame of reference when it comes to contemporary art. To be able to make the decision yourself, that you do not need those free resources or any consultations. That you become an expert in contemporary art. Because if you want to enter the contemporary art world and therefore create contemporary art, you must first understand it. So consuming in form of both text and image contemporary art on a daily basis is a must. This is a skill as important as any skill you might have in the studio. Additionally, when the work is ready, your profile also needs to be completely professional. Meaning you need to have a professional artist resume, you need to have a professional biography, a website, a professionally curated Instagram feed. Your portfolio needs to look high-end with high quality pictures that also align and all these things with the typical visual identity, but also structure that the art world expects. All these things, once more, can be found on our platform. So do not skip any steps here and prepare yourself. When having done all that, it is possible to look the part, to be that interesting older artist who for some reason does not have gallery representation yet. When that time comes, it is time to seek opportunities. And whereas we might have less opportunities when it comes to open calls, when you're a bit older, it's a bit easier to be a bit more direct when it comes to networking or saying that you're open to a collaboration to a gallery director, because they will treat your request with a bit more respect, especially in person. Make sure to watch our video series on how to get your art in a gallery next. And I'm also planning, because this was also one of the topics that is requested by you, on how to network properly in the art world. So definitely stay tuned for that video. So despite the perception or the fear of older artists that the art world is only for the young, your success is not tied to your age alone. If anything, a mature voice and longevity is rewarded by the art world. And even more, it's perhaps essential to stop thinking of age as an excuse, even though it's only natural. If you find yourself blaming your age or other factors that kind of determine the chances of success, from your location, how wealthy you are, your financial means, how much time you have available, how much luck you have in life, your gender, your ethnicity, etc. If you actively see them as excuses in advance for not succeeding, then you've already lost in a certain sense. Then you're simply setting up yourself not to succeed. Every artist faces obstacles, and some will face more than others. That's a reality, but it's not a reason to give up. Success in the art world demands resilience and perseverance, regardless of your age or those other factors I mentioned. You must believe in yourself and your own potential, that you can overcome those obstacles, instead of waiting for the perfect conditions that might never be there. In the end, failure is part of being an artist. More importantly, remember why you're doing this in the first place. If your practice brings purpose and authenticity, you'll never have failed, regardless of finding widespread recognition or not. In the end, this mindset is a lot more important than your age or any other factor. That being said, feel free to read the complete article about this topic on contemporaryartissue.com. I will link to this very article, and contemporaryartissue.com is also where you can find all those other resources and tools, consultations that can help you. It's good to be back, and you might also have noticed that today I'm not filming from my couch with Perrier, my dog, next to me, but from my studio. I've read that a lot of you are also interested in my personal story, which is something that I'm very uncomfortable in sharing with, especially for this platform, as I always intend to keep it a bit neutral and as objective as possible, because in the end it is a public service and not a personal service to myself or my work. But for those of you who are interested, I plan to create also some YouTube videos about my personal and more subjective vision when it comes to art, for which I have created a YouTube account. There is no content on it yet, but it is my intention to publish frequently over there as well. So if that's something that might interest you, definitely have a look at that channel or subscribe to it for the upcoming videos. And I very much thank you in advance for it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch our video on 5 reasons why galleries are ignoring you next. Support us on Patreon, and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.